You notice things other people don't. The slight shift in someone's tone, the way the air changes when you walk into a room, the micro expression that flashes across a face before a smile covers it up. And because you notice it, you've probably been told you're too sensitive, that you overthink, that you need to just chill. But here's what almost nobody understands, including maybe you. Your brain isn't overprocessing, it's accurately processing. You are running a high-resolution scanner in a world that only sees in low res. And you almost certainly learned how to turn that scanner on before you were 7 years old. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what happens in your nervous system when you notice too much, where it came from. And the one thing that separates people whose awareness is a superpower from people whose awareness quietly burns them out, because there is a line, and most people who notice too much have no idea which side of it they're standing on. Welcome back to Inner Script. Let's get into it. Sign 1. You detect the shift before the words are spoken. Here's the first sign. You hear what people aren't saying. Think about the last time someone told you they were fine. You knew they weren't. You didn't just guess it. You felt it in your chest. Psychology calls this micro-expression recognition, an effective empathy. But let's translate that. Your nervous system is reading data that other people's brains filter out as background noise. Most people only process the words. You process the words, the tone, the posture, the breathing rate, and the tension in the room. You're not imagining things. You're just receiving a higher bandwidth of information. The problem isn't that your scanner is broken. The problem is that it never learned how to turn off. Sign 2. You get exhausted after normal social interaction. Sign number 2. Being around people, even people you love, physically drains you. And it's not because you're antisocial. It's because your brain is doing the work of 10 people in the room. When you're in a conversation, you aren't just listening. You're tracking emotional shifts. You're managing the energy of the room. You're anticipating reactions. Researchers call this sensory processing sensitivity. It means your brain takes longer to process stimuli because it processes it more deeply. So when someone says, "Why are you so tired? We just sat and talked," they don't realize you just ran an emotional marathon while they took a walk. Sign 3. You learned to read the room to stay safe. This didn't start as a personality trait. It started as a survival strategy. Ask yourself, what was the emotional weather like in your house when you were little? Was it predictable, or was it a minefield? Did you have to check the mood of a parent before you asked for something? Did you learn to read the silence, to know if it was safe to speak? Attachment research shows that when a child grows up in an unpredictable environment, their brain adapts by becoming hypervigilant. It maps the emotional terrain to avoid the landmines. You didn't choose to notice too much. Your brain decided that noticing too much was the only way to stay safe, and it kept that software running long after you left that house. Sign 4. You absorb other people's moods like a sponge. Here's the sign 4, and this is the one that confuses people the most. You don't just notice emotions, you catch them. You walk into a room and suddenly feel anxious, only to realize 10 minutes later that the anxiety isn't yours. It belongs to the person sitting next to you. Mirror neurons are brain cells that fire both when we act and when we observe the same action performed by another. In highly perceptive people, this mirror system is hyperactive. You are literally simulating other people's internal states in your own body. It makes you an incredibly compassionate friend, but it also means you are constantly carrying emotional luggage that doesn't belong to you. Sign 5. You struggle with loud, chaotic environments. Loud noises, bright lights, and chaotic crowds don't just annoy you. They physically overwhelm you. This is the hallmark of a highly sensitive nervous system. Your brain doesn't have the same habituation filter that other people have. Habituation is the brain's ability to ignore repetitive, irrelevant stimuli like the hum of a fridge or background chatter. Your brain refuses to ignore it. It treats every input as equally important. So a crowded restaurant isn't just loud to you. It's a neurological assault. And when you need to leave, it's not because you're rude. It's because your system is literally at capacity. Sign 6. You see the potential in people that they don't see in themselves. This is the one that makes you a rare friend, but a complicated partner. You see people's potential before they do. You see the hidden pain behind someone's anger. You see the fear behind someone's arrogance. Because you process at a deeper level, you look past the surface behavior and see the underlying architecture of a person. This means you give people the benefit of the doubt long after others have given up on them. But here's the trap. You start falling in love with people's potential rather than who they actually are in the present, and you exhaust yourself trying to help them see what you already see. Sign 7. You are terrified of being too much. And that brings us to sign 7, the heaviest one. Because you notice so much, you've internalized a deep, quiet fear that you are too much, too sensitive, too intense, too complicated. You've spent your life editing yourself, dialing down your reactions, pretending you didn't notice the subtle shift in the room just to make other people comfortable. You shrink your high-resolution world down to low resolution so others don't feel blind. But here's the hard truth. The people who make you feel like you're too much are just people who aren't used to being seen that clearly. Your depth isn't a burden, it's a mirror. And some people aren't ready to look in it, which means the entire question of whether your awareness is a gift or a curse comes down to one single thing. Here it is. The line is not between noticing and not noticing. You can't turn off a high-resolution scanner. The line is between perceiving an emotion and absorbing it. Psychological research on boundaries shows that highly empathetic people often lack cognitive decoupling, the ability to observe a feeling without taking it on as their own. So here's the exact protocol, and it's worth memorizing. 3 steps appear as cards. 1. Name it out loud. When you feel the shift, say it internally. This is their anxiety, not mine. Labeling the emotion engages the prefrontal cortex and disengages the amygdala. It puts the feeling in a box. 2. Visualize the glass wall. Imagine a clear glass wall between you and the other person. You can see them perfectly. You can hear them perfectly. But their emotional energy hits the glass and slides down. It doesn't cross over. 3. Drop the rope. You can understand someone's pain without taking responsibility for fixing it. Compassion is caring for them. Absorption is carrying it for them. Put the bag down. So the psychology of people who notice too much, your awareness began as intelligence, a child in an unpredictable house, learning to read the weather to stay safe. It kept you safe. It got you here. It deserves some respect, but you're not in that house anymore. And the people in front of you now don't need you to manage their emotional weather. You don't have to turn off your scanner. You only need one upgrade to what you already do, a glass wall between you and the world. That's it. That's the whole difference between carrying the weight of the room and just enjoying the view. Before you go, which of these 7 signs hit you the hardest? Put the number in the comments. Nothing else, just the number. You're going to scroll down and discover just how many people notice the world in exactly the same high-resolution way you do. And for some of you, that'll be the first proof you've ever had that this was never just you being too sensitive. If this video understood you, the one on screen right now goes even deeper. I'll see you there.